A very good morning to all the respected participants and the respected speaker of this day and all my dear faculty members. As we know that today is the third day of this FDP, and we are halfway there for completing this FDP on robotics. And before we start, as we know that we are starting with the Vedic shlok. So, Tamev Rishi Tamu Brahma माहुर्य सामगा which means वही ऋषि और ब्राह्मण है जो अपने ज्ञान से दूसरों को सन्मार्ग पर लाता है। निरंतर ज्ञान दान करते रहना ब्राह्मण की पवित्र जिम्मेदारी है। This also belongs to the teachers or faculty members who are responsible for spreading the knowledge and it's their duty to spread the knowledge and give a word of wisdom to the children and spread the knowledge. And now I would like to call Ms. Shreya for introducing our first speaker of this day, Dr. Shyam Kamal sir. Over to you, Shreya.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Diksha ma'am.
A very good morning to all the participants over here. So now, so far, we have reached the third day of the AICTE program. So I'm very grateful to introduce Dr. Shyam Kamalji. Dr. Shyam Kamal received his bachelor's degree in electronics and communication engineering from the Gurukul Kangri University, Haridwar, Uttarakhand, India in 2009 and PhD in Systems and Control Engineering from the IIT Bombay, India in 2014. From 2015 to 2016, he was with the Department of Systems Designs and Informatics, Kyushu Institute of Technology, Japan, as a project assistant professor. Currently, he is an assistant professor in the in the Department of Electrical Engineering, IIT BHU, Varanasi, India. He has published one monograph, 4 book chapters, and 70 journal articles and conference papers. His research interests include the area of non-linear control and its applications. Particularly, he is working on fractional order systems, contraction analysis, discrete and continuous higher order sliding mode control, and multi-agent systems. He has received excellence awards in PhD thesis from IIT Bombay in 2015 for his thesis Sliding Mode Control of Fractional Order Systems and INAE Younger Engineering Award in 2019 for his research work. He is now an INAE Young Associate. He has also received honorary appointment as a visiting professor from RMIT, Melbourne, Australia in July 2017 and in the duration of November and December 2019 and visiting professor from Harbin Institute of Technology, China in August 2019. Sir, I heartily welcome to you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So should I start now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning to all. And thank you very much to introduce me in front of audience. And I feel very much privileged because you might have seen that I have done my bachelor program from the same university, Gurukula Kangri Viswavidyalaya, and today I have received one opportunity to talk in front of my teachers, and obviously all teachers. There are several school teachers, and means honestly this is first time I am going to speak in front of school teachers. I have taken several lectures in national as well as international platform, but a little bit I am nervous because I never take these kind of lecture in front of school teachers. I always admire my school teachers because due to that reason means I feel that I am here today. So let us start the lecture. So in today's lecture, I am going to talk about controlling a robot, a Newton's law-based approach. And before going to the next part of this lecture, I am going to fix one definition, that what is meaning of robot. So you can see that in this heading, there exist three different terminology. One is control, one is robot, and one is Newton's law. And I hope that at least all of you are well aware about the Newton's law. So let us first fix the definition of robot. So we are telling that a robot is a machine, especially one programmable by a computer, capable of carrying out a complex series of action automatically. And in order to perform that automatic action, actually one external or maybe some kind of embedded element is required, and that is called control. So somehow you can interpret control as the brain of the robot. And you all are knowing that if our brain will not work, then I cannot do anything. Even if you are very, very healthy, and suppose if your brain stop working, then you are not able to do anything. And due to that reason, control is the one of the most important part or most important element of the any robotic system. So since robot is one kind of machine, so machine maybe actually travel in air, maybe travel in water, on ground. So in this lecture, I am going to cover all three aspects. Suppose when machine will traveling in air, then how to control it. Whenever it travel inside water, then again how to control it. And we all are knowing that most of robot is nowadays helping us, and that is ground robot. So obvious another most important aspect is how to control that kind of robot. And in this control problem, I'm just going to use the Newton's law. Two laws of Newton is enough, first law and second law. So before going to the formal lecture, I'm going to tell you the story behind this particular topic. So I have joined IIT BHU in 2016, and just after joining within 5 days, what happens? One robotic team approaches to me, and he told that I want to learn control system. And whatever control system they are willing to learn, that is actually nonlinear control system. And nonlinear control system is highest form of means control system, and most of the students are also not well aware about this. So now you can think my position, all the students are just their bachelor degree students. They have
So
just
please
knowledge
wait a
of
second.
Excuse me.
Participants, please mute yourself so that session will be very smooth. It's
Oh, should I continue now? Okay, so
yes, sir.
okay, so what happens that first year bachelor degree student come to me, and they are willing to learn nonlinear control system, and most of time that class of control system is even it not clear to the most of researcher, particularly for PhD student and those who are very, very new faculty members. So I become surprised, but I have told them, please do not worry. You can give me 2 months. After that, I will teach you nonlinear control. So within this 2 months, I try to understand again the control system from the fundamental point of view, and I found that it is possible to teach control system using Newton's law. So same kind of things today I am going to share. So let us start the discussion. So basically, purpose of the today's discussion to introduce the audience to latest effective and easily applicable method of control of robotic system. Because I have told you that using Newton's law, I taught them nonlinear control technique also. So using Newton's law, you are able to understand linear means simple control system as well as highest form of control system also. And heavy uncertainty condition means that most of time, suppose that if your vehicle is moving in the open ground and some storm is going to hit that, so basically we are not knowing that what kind of value or what is the magnitude of air which is going to disturb our system. And whenever unexpected this kind of things happens, that is termed as a uncertainty. And there are several forms of uncertainty. So one uncertainty is called external uncertainty, another uncertainty that arises due to measurement. So suppose that whenever we are making some system, at that time we are assuming that we are knowing the each and every parameter. Suppose that if you want to apply Newton's law, then we are assuming that mass, information of mass is available. But you all are aware that I cannot measure the mass exactly. There always exists some kind of error. And control system should be such a beautiful enough such that even if I have approximate information, then I am able to fulfill the task precisely. So that is the aim of control system. And I have already told you that this kind of advanced result I am going to teach just by simple, intuitive, and clear and analytically simple approach, that is Newton's law. So it might possible during my discussion you are not able to follow some part of mathematics. Even if you will not follow, please forget that. Just try to understand the intuition. If you understood the intuition, then automatically after some time you are also able to understand the mathematics. One more important point here I am going to clear, that several times in this lecture I am talking about system. And if you turn on any book, you might have seen that system is written. Even if you can turn on one economics book or any book, biology book. So first I have to fix the definition of system also. So what is meaning of system? That is true for context of robotics also. That meaning of system is I have certain kind of input, and input should be real number, some kind of real number which I can measure. And if I apply that kind of real number to particular object, then I will get some kind of output, and again that should be unique real number. So that is very, very important, because output should be unique. If output is not unique, then what is problem? Try to understand using very simple example. Suppose you have to travel from Haridwar to Delhi using aeroplane, and you have applied one control U in aeroplane such that that will move or follow some kind of trajectory. If using one input, if you have two output, then it might possible that either you can land in Delhi or Mumbai. If I have this kind of system, because if we are not certain that I am going to land to Delhi, then I cannot going to take a seat inside that particular aeroplane. And due to that reason, in engineering system, this is one of the most important requirement. If you apply some input and there exists some kind of internal variable, then whatever output, that should be unique. So uniqueness is very, very important here. And if you see the definition of function, some of you might aware that how to define function. So meaning of function is that I have domain, I have some kind of codomain, and there exists some kind of in between system that will relate, or in between object that relate from input to output. And if you see any input, then output is always unique, and that is the definition of function. definition of relation, in relation, what happens? If you give one input, it might possible I have two output also. And due to that reason, you might have seen that whenever we are starting the calculus, and actually calculus is introduced by Newton, so first they have defined the function, because somehow he want to study about the system, and uniqueness is very, very important. So whenever you are teaching function to your student, please try to tell the story that function is some kind of relation, where if you apply some kind of input, then you are going to get the unique output. So all engineering system based on my knowledge is satisfy this kind of property. So this is a story about the system. It means that any robotic system is nothing but some kind of mathematical function which will take input and give out some kind of output. And after that, now here you can see that after completion of this discussion, we are at the end of the lecture. The audience will be able to understand the physical interpretation of, I have written some term that is called PID. So I will explain you this term in the next part of lecture. For time being, meaning of PID is P for proportional, I for integral, and D for derivative. Again, come to the Newtonian calculus. You might have seen that in calculus we have two operators. One is differential operator and one is integral operator. And obviously proportional things we know that what is meaning of proportional. So basically using these three operators, Newton's tried to capture some kind of things, and we are going to see that what kind of things basically Newton trying to capture using these three operators. And after that, if you learn this lecture carefully, you are able to design control system for following class of system, that is electrical motor design, because motor is one of the integral part of any robot. Most of robot is actually based on the electrical motor. So you have to understand that how to control the motor. After that, any kind of targeting and tracking problem. It means that most of time whenever we are designing the robot, our aim that robot will follow our instruction. Whatever things we are expecting to do, robot should do, and that problem is called targeting or tracking problem. I will define it in later part of this lecture. And robotics, obviously, whole robotics you can control. Avionics is somehow related to aerospace. Suppose I have to control the aeroplane, I have to control the rocket, and nowadays India is doing very good in terms of space research. So using this lecture, I am also tell you the certain part of the story that is related to avionics. And obviously signal and image processing is important, because lot of time different signal is come and we have to detect the signal. So using this lecture, it is also possible to detect the signal, because sometimes based on the information of signal we are detecting that okay, Mars has this much of intensity of the air or something like that. So due to that reason, last one is also very, very important. One more note you might have seen here, that I have written that memory is selective, and so one can remember random events. So due to that reason, means I do not believe on memory. So try to understand the intuition. Intuition is very, very important. So even if you are not able to memorize something very clearly, but if you have intuition, then it is possible to recall things. So in this lecture, most of time I am going to talk about the intuition only. So let us start the lecture. And I have already told you that one of the integral part of this lecture is Newton's law. So first I am going to again review the Newton's law. I hope that everyone is already well aware what is meaning of Newton's law. So in order to explain Newton's law, I have just taken one system, and that is from aerospace. So this is rocket, and you all are already well aware that how basically rocket is working. So before going to the working principle of rocket, first try to understand the statement of first law of Newton's. So what Newton has suggested, that every object persists in its state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless it is compelled to change that state by forces impressed on it. It means that if external force equal to 0, so if some system is in rest, then that remains in rest. If that is moving with some kind of constant velocity, so that will move with some kind of constant velocity. So you can see that I have first developed this kind of rocket, and after that I am going to see the situation before firing. Actually what happens, that whenever we are making rocket, then we are putting some kind of fuel inside the rocket. Firing means somehow we are going to burn the fuel. So before firing, what happens? This object is on rest and air speed equal to 0. Now, when we fire the engine, it means that somehow I am going to burning the fuel. So what happens? That when the magnitude of fuel will decrease, some kind of thrust is going to increase. So that thrust is basically created due to the burning of the fuel. And what happens, that when thrust is greater than weight, so what happens, due to the gravitational law of gravity, one force is actually acting, and here you can see that the direction of force, that is due to weight, and that is actually acting vertically downward direction, and due to burning of fuel, actually one force is going to act on the upward direction, and due to that reason some net force comes into picture. And now you can see that in first law I am telling that if force is not acting, then what is situation? Now some force start acting on it. So obviously this law is now not going to work. We have to formulate some more law, and due to that reason Newton has proposed second law. And before proposing the second law, what he has observed, that whenever some force is going to act on the system, then position is going to change, and that rate of change of position he defined as a velocity, and rate of change of velocity he defined as a acceleration. So that is the meaning of acceleration. You all are well aware. So now let us try to see the second law, and he defined the second law, that whatever force that is exactly equal to the rate of change of momentum. It means that change of momentum with change of the time. And actually means during school time we are actually reading this definition, but whenever we are going to higher class, at that time we are talking about instantaneous rate of change basically, because we know the concept of limit or these kind of things. So for time being, you can just assume that force equal to change of momentum with change of time. I found that most of time whenever a student came to the university, and if you ask them what is Newton's second law, they are telling F equal to ma. That is wrong. That is not correct. That is just one special case of this particular definition. And let us try to see that. I have taken same rocket, and you can see here that at t equal to 0, when I have started this rocket, at that time suppose position is x0, velocity is v0, and mass is m0. And I have already told you that whatever thrust that is going to produce, that is due to the burning of fuel inside this rocket, and due to that reason it means that now mass is going to decrease, and due to that reason I can not assume that m0 is exactly equal to m1. So I have to define another mass m1 at time t1, and at that time position is x1 and v1. You try to see here, rocket is actually flying inside the air. So that is in three-dimensional space. Three-dimensional space means I have x-axis, I have y-axis, and I have z-axis. So due to that reason, x0 is vector quantity, means it has magnitude as well as direction. Mass is a scalar quantity, that is just a magnitude, and here v0 is again the vector quantity. I am assuming that velocity along the x-axis, velocity along the y-axis, and velocity along the z-axis. So now, by this definition, first I have to define the momentum. So momentum is nothing but multiplication of mass and velocity at that particular time. So how to calculate the change? m1 v1 minus m0 v0, and rate of change of time, so t1 minus t0. So this is the definition of Newton's second law. In this definition, if you assume m1 is constant, then only what happens? v1 minus v0 by t1 minus t0, that is the rate of change of velocity that I can define as acceleration. So due to that reason, I have told you that F equal to ma is not the correct definition of second law, because this definition is only valid if m is constant. But if m is not constant, I cannot tell. And most of time, whenever we are talking about some definition, it means that we are talking about generalized thing. And I have already told you that everything is vector quantity, means they have magnitude as well as direction. So this is the second law. Now let us come to the third slide, and this is one of the most important slide, and engineering is going to start from here. So now what happens, that suppose I have to study about the rocket. So I cannot compel our government that you can make some kind of robotic laboratory everywhere in all school, all college. That is very, very expensive. So even if government cannot tolerate, and I cannot allow our school child to actually play with this particular rocket, that might become very, very dangerous. So but now in this era, we are trying to teach rocket to our school children, or there exist several university which is not fully funded. So I cannot expect this kind of setup. So now suppose I have no rocket or no aeroplane, then is it possible to learn about rocket, aeroplane, motors or not? And answer of this question is positive, yes. So what kind of things is going to help in this respect? And I have one language that is called mathematics, and somehow mathematics can create some kind of virtual experimental setup where without the original setup I can talk about that particular quantity. Means even if there is no rocket inside IIT BHU or Gurukul, I can talk about the rocket. So how basically mathematics help in this respect? So they are telling that whenever you have some kind of physical system, again I have told you, system means I am going to apply thrust. Thrust is nothing but some kind of real number we are going to provide them, and whatever force or whatever acceleration or position I am going to measure, that again some kind of real number. So that is game between two real numbers. So somehow I have to connect two real number, and one of way to connect two real number, and this real number is changing with respect to time, because my mass is changing, so somehow thrust is changing, my position is changing, so real number is now not fixed. So actually what happens, that is actually changing with respect to time. So input is changing and output is changing, and whenever some quantity is going to change, then how to make relation? Again I have to take help of the calculus. And due to that reason, before starting the physics, Newton has developed one mathematics, and that is called calculus. So up to now we have understood the why Newton has developed the function, and after defining the function, he defines some more quantity like position, rate of change with respect to time, because everything real number is changing with respect to time. And how to capture the change? They have introduced certain kind of notion like position, velocity, acceleration, these kind of things, and obviously jerk, you can tell. That is the rate of change of the acceleration. One more thing, that whenever we are firing one rocket, what is our aim? Either we are firing rocket to launch our satellite system in some kind of geostationary orbit, and using that we are seeing several television program, we are able to understand that what kind of weather conditions, so that is due to satellite. So using rocket I can establish the satellite. In every mission you might have seen the Mars mission or several missions, so role of this rocket is very, very important. So lot of student is very much curious about the robot. Now you all are aware that whenever we have some object, then gravity play a very important role. So somehow, in order to escape from the gravity, one specific velocity is required, that is called escape velocity. And how to calculate means escape velocity? That is pretty easy. You can just equate kinetic energy equal to potential energy, and whenever I have motion, then I can define kinetic energy equal to half mv square. I am not going to tell that how basically this quantity comes into picture. So just you can believe on me that kinetic energy is half mv square, and potential energy is gmm by r, where g is the gravity constant of gravity, m is the mass of earth, and small m the mass of rocket, and r is the distance. So if you find something greater than this velocity, then again they will come to the our effect of gravitational field means they will escape from the earth. And I am going to take help of this during the mathematical representation of this particular rocket. So you can see that now I have no physical rocket, but I want to do a study about the rocket, so mathematics is going to help us, and basically calculus is enough most of time. So what I am telling, ht is height. So I am assuming this rocket is initially moving in this straight line, so only change occur in this direction, that is y direction, and that I am assuming that is ht. And rate of change of position, so somehow position is changing, so I am assuming that just this height is going to change, so rate of change of height equal to velocity. And after that I have to use the second law of the Newton's, that rate of change of momentum. So how to define momentum? So at particular time, momentum is the mass and velocity multiplication of mass into velocity, and their rate of change d by dt. Please, whenever here I have written this symbol, meaning of this symbol is d by dt. So in short, people are writing dh by dt equal to h dot. That is means one convention to write. Now you can see that rate of change of momentum equal to force, and only one force is acting on this system, and that is the gravity. So basically I am assuming that initially when this rocket is start, at that time rate of change of this momentum is exactly equal to whatever force that is going to act on this system. And now if you have some basic idea of calculus, and if you have multiplication of two quantity, and if you take derivative, then that is called chain rule. So from chain rule I have mt and dv by dt, and dv by dt I have denoted as a v dot, and similarly dm by dt I have denoted as a m dot t into v, and minus mg minus mt into g. So this is the mathematical representation, but I have to make some kind of rocket which will escape from the field of gravity, and due to that reason I have to make some kind of correction. So what kind of correction I am going to do? From here you can see that dh by dt, rate of change of height equal to velocity, and after that in this third equation what I am going to do, I am going to collect this term in right hand side. So I have minus m dot t into vt, and after that I am going to divide with mt. And if you divide with mt, then I have minus g, and here negative sign. Initially you have negative sign, and I have vt, and after that divided by mt, and m dot is also here. And you can see that whatever thrust that is going to produce, that is the rate of change of the mass. And due to that reason, what I am going to do, that I am going to write dmt by dt equal to ut, and so this is the controlling force. So if you burn your fuel with higher rate, then what happens? You are getting more thrust. And so
excuse me, sir. Sorry to interrupt, sir.
Okay,
I have
okay.
a small doubt here.
Okay,
Sir, you just specified that mass of m of t, right,
Yeah.
that is equal to the velocity. How do we express dimensionally, sir? Dimensionally, this seems to be a very this equation doesn't seem to be satisfying.
No. What you are telling? What?
Sir, the equation which you wrote, the first equation, that is h of
First,
t equal to v of
h
t.
is height. So d
That is
dh
equal to
by d.
velocity.
That is equal to velocity. So you can just assume ht as a xt. Okay, x or y, whatever you can
But
tell. So,
dimensionally, these equations are not correct.
no. Dimensionally that is equal because dh by dt. So okay, could you please tell me how to define velocity? Rate of change of position, na?
Yeah, right.
So this is rate of change of position only. So I am assuming only one dimension for simplicity, but in original case we are always taking ht as a vector. But for school children, I am just assuming that ht means rocket is only moving in one direction. So ht is the position. So rate of change of position equal to velocity. So dimensionally that is correct. Any confusion?
Okay. When we define terms of derivatives.
So derivative dh by dt. So dh by dt, how to define velocity?
Okay, fine, sir. And
Change of
similarly, the last
position.
one also, m of t, the mass.
So dimensionally that is not incorrect. Please try to see that, because if you see the Newton's law, okay.
Thank
Please,
you, sir. Thank you.
Here you can see that force equal to change of momentum with change of time. So momentum, how to define momentum? V0 m0, and rate of change means v1 m1 and minus m0 v0 and t1 minus t0. It means that whatever dimension in this right hand side, same kind of dimension here.
That I understood, sir. That I understood.
Okay. So if you have no confusion, then I will go to the next part of this lecture. So now here you can see that I have done one modification. What kind of modification I have done? I have replaced this velocity v by some kind of escape velocity. And why we are doing that? Because somehow I want to make some kind of rocket such that it will escape from the atmosphere of Earth. And I have defined m dot, means rate of change of mass of this rocket, because most of the time if you see the rocket, then what happens? That rocket, lot of mass is just a fuel. So we are assuming that whatever rate of change or of mass comes into picture, that is just due to burning of fuel, and that is control input for us. So here, how basically we are controlling the rocket? We are burning the fuel, and that fuel creates some kind of thrust, and after that basically we are moving from one point to another point. Here you can see that this particular equation is not exactly equal to this particular equation. So we have done certain kind of modification here. So what we have done, we have replaced Vt by Ve, that is escape velocity. So whenever you are doing mathematical modeling, at that time that is always approximate, that is not exact. That kind of things I am going to convey from here. That this equation means left hand side, whatever I have written this equation, that is means precisely based on the Newton's law. And after that what happens? I have done certain kind of modification in that equation, and if some mismatch occur, then this control action will control everything. So what happens? People are suggesting that, or that is suggested by Newton's itself, that if you have some physical system, then there is no need to do exact mathematical modeling. Approximate mathematical modeling will do everything. And if some mismatch happens, then you can apply some kind of correction. And now, in next part of this lecture, I am going to tell you how to do the correction. So I hope that up to here, there is no confusion. So now, if I have this kind of mathematical equation, and nowadays we have very standard software, so you can simulate this kind of differential equation using C or C++ also, but that is a little bit difficult, and due to that reason, we have platform that is called MATLAB. So in MATLAB, if you write this kind of differential equation, so you are able to understand that how much, at what rate I have to burn our fuel such that I will get this much of velocity, means that velocity that is greater than v escape. And this kind of calculation you are able to do just using the computer program. So somehow we are telling that this particular differential equation is an approximate representation of this system, and this particular equation will convey a lot of things, and this is called mathematical modeling. And one of the integral part in any control design is the mathematical modeling. And what is beauty? So even if some system is not existing nowadays, but you can think about the mathematical model. No physical connection is required, just you have to play with the mathematics, and based on fundamental principle you are able to create the mathematical model. You can able to do the experiment, and that is called experiment based on simulation. And nowadays almost 95% experiment is based on simulation only, because one cannot afford the physical experiment. Due to that reason, mathematics is one of the important subject, and I hope that all teacher will encourage their student to go through the mathematics. Most of time what I found that a student is just understanding mathematics as a calculus, but that is not the calculation, but that is not the case, because mathematics gives us lot of intuition, and due to that reason I am going to recall one kind of quote that is given by Srinivasan, and you all are knowing that. Means actually he told that, means mathematical equation is nothing for me if that is not the message of God. So every differential equation or every equation actually conveys some kind of physical fact. Now let us come to the another class of systems. So in first part of this lecture I have talked some system which is related to the space mission rocket. And here I forget to tell you that during soft landing, whenever we are doing the soft landing on Mars or somewhere, we are just reversing this action. So now means moon gravity, suppose I have to do soft landing on moon, then moon try to actually try to attract whatever things, whatever robot or what kind of rocket you can think that is actually going to pull that rocket. So now in order to do soft landing such that will not crash after hitting the moon surface, and I am now applying thrust in opposite direction. So thrust now in the below direction, and actually now if thrust is on means this direction, then we are able to do the soft landing, and mathematical equation remains the same. Okay, so leave that. Now let us come to the second part of robotics, that is underwater vehicle. And this is also one of the very important class of the robot. So actually when I have joined here, then a student came with this particular setup. So in IIT BHU, they have this kind of setup. Now they want to control, or they want to move this underwater vehicle inside Ganga, and main motive, they try to analyze the pollution. So they have actually put some kind of sensor which can actually measure the pollution level of Ganga. and they have to move this underwater vehicle from one point to another point with some kind of constant velocity. So that was their aim. But what happens that they are unable to move with constant velocity because always river is flowing and their velocity of flow is not uniform. If you just record the velocity of flow within 1 to 2 hours, then you are able to see the variation. So it is very difficult to move this underwater vehicle with constant velocity from one point to another point. Now, what I am going to tell you another story. In previous class, I am talking about the mathematical modeling. And what basically mathematical modeling is doing, I have some kind of input, I have certain kind of output. So they are defining some kind of virtual system in between using help of mathematics, such that if I apply input, then I will get output. So, and I have already told you that this virtual system is nothing but some kind of function, means all machines should be some kind of function. And you try to understand this this thing using very simple example. I hope that you all are using washing machine inside your home, and you might have seen that goal of all washing machines is same. They are accepting some voltage to 30 volt or something, and after that they washed the cloth. But why price of all washing machine is different? You might have seen that if you see the internal part of the washing machine, so that is varying from company to company, but goal is same. If you will bought some kind of costly washing machine, then some extra function might be there, but their ultimate aim to wash the cloth. So what is basic idea? If you have input and output, there exist infinite many function such that you can represent same set of input and same set of output. So here in between element may be many, and due to that reason, if you try to capture some system using mathematics, that is not unique. Infinite many way you are able to capture this system, and due to that reason, mathematical model of some system is not unique. That is always depending on our specification, means what kind of specification we actually need. If you trying to do the mathematical modeling of this complicated system, then you try to see that motor is involved here. So concept of electrical engineering is required. GPS, RF antenna is involved, so concept of electronics is required. After that, some kind of computer interface is required, programming is required, so computer science comes into picture. Obviously, this whole structure is designed by some kind of mechanical people or civil people, so mechanical and civil engineering is required. So lot of different engineering is required. And if you try to model everything, then order of this system, mathematical equation which exactly represent this system, may be 100 order or something more than that also. So I cannot create or analyze that 100 differential equation. That is very, very difficult. So what Newton has suggested, that please forget about this, try to see your objective. So first you can fix your objective. So for this underwater vehicle, for us, objective is only to, in presence of the flow, I have to maintain constant velocity. In between, if I detected some pollution, I have to stop underwater vehicle there and try to do some more measurement. So I have to aim. Either I have to move this underwater vehicle with constant velocity in presence of some kind of disturbance we are telling, because I do not know how much wave, Ganga wave is going to flow. And after that, I have to stop the vehicle in presence of the flow also. It might possible, if we are more curious, then I want to make some kind of velocity that is changing with respect to time, that is called time varying velocity. So based on that aim, you have to do the modeling. So you have to forget everything, and just now you have to control the motion. And how to control the motion? Again, Newton's law comes into picture, and you have to just apply second law, F equal to ma. So here, for simplicity, I am assuming that mass of this underwater vehicle, I am assuming unity, but you can scale it out. You can take any value of mass, that doesn't matter. And if you multiply mass and rate of change, v dot is dv by dt, that is acceleration. So this is just symbol. So in engineering literature, we are using this symbol, control literature particularly. So please, whenever I am writing v dot, means I am talking about rate of change of velocity with respect to time, that is called instantaneous velocity. So mass multiplied by velocity. Now F, this is ma. Now I have to make, because I am assuming that the mass of this underwater vehicle is fixed, and due to that reason I am going to use F equal to ma. Otherwise I have to go via the rate of change of momentum. So what I am going to do here, that I am going to fix mass equal to 1. Just this is just for simplification. So I have mv dot, and this is u, this is u, and I have put one dash here. So u dash is nothing but thrust, and this thrust is basically responsible for moving underwater vehicle from one point to another point. You can try to see that second element that I have written minus v mod v. So you all are aware that whenever something moving in air or inside water, always just some kind of friction force is going to act on that system. So from the experiment, what people have found, that value of the friction force inside water, or even if whenever aeroplane is moving in air with high speed, that is proportional to the square of the velocity. And here, if that is proportional to a square of the velocity, that force, opposing force, so for opposition I have put the negative sign, and I can put v square here. But what is difficulty? This force is actually very much dynamic. And what is meaning of dynamic? If you start moving in this direction, then direction of force is in opposite direction. Suppose now suddenly if you change the direction, then what happens? That direction of force become reverse. And due to that reason, we are telling that based on velocity, their direction comes into picture. So if you write in this way, this is absolute. Absolute means this will always give the magnitude only, and this will give us magnitude as well as direction, because velocity is one kind of vector quantity. I am assuming that this underwater vehicle again moving in one dimension only. So now for everything I have done for simplicity, and here I have d. So basically what is my d? So 1 minute, one call is coming. Hello. एक्चुअली मैं लेक्चर में हूँ, सो किसी दूसरे को कॉल कर लीजिए. So excuse me. So actually what happens, you can see that I have, this is the thrust force, and this is force, opposing force, that is going to act on the underwater vehicle. And now you are able to understand why I have written in this form, because if my underwater vehicle is moving in this direction, then viscous force will act on the opposite direction. If they start moving in this direction, then viscous force start opposing. Due to that reason, I have expressed like this, and this d is some kind of unknown quantity, because I have told you that my objective, that I do not know the velocity of flow, that may be vary. Due to that reason, always whenever we are doing some kind of mathematical model, that is approximate model, then I have put this d here. So now this is the mathematical representation of the system, and I have already told you that control objective is to maintain velocity vdt. Vdt means either you can maintain the time varying velocity, or vd equal to 0 means you have to stop this system, and in spite of d, and d is nothing but the disturbance. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have to maintain velocity vd, that is time varying, or vd equal to 0 in spite of the disturbance. That is, and disturbance is not known to me. That is the difficulty here. So this problem is called tracking problem. Tracking means I have to track some kind of constant velocity or time varying velocity, as name implies. And what is meaning of stabilization problem? I have to stop something. It means that we have stabilize at certain point. So I have two different problems. That is very famous problem in control literature, and here I am talking about robust tracking and stabilization problem. Robust means if something is not known to me, still I am going to maintain certain kind of velocity profile, or I am going to stop this vehicle, this particular vehicle. So now let us come to the control system here. So here you can see that in this control system, first try to, before understanding this control system, try to understand from the intuition. So control system is nothing that is just based on our intuition. So basically, how basically we are taking the decision. Suppose you came to the Haridwar first time, you are not knowing where is Har Ki Pauri. So, and you have to go to Har Ki Pauri by the walk, but you have certain map in your hand. So whatever map, that is called reference input. So you have map, and now plant is nothing but you are, and after that what you are doing, you are taking some kind of path and you are moving. So by eye you are seeing the road, and after that what you are doing, that you are matching. So sensor means your eye. So your eye is going to detect the position, and after that we are matching that position with the map position. So I have map, digital map, even if nowadays people are using Google Map. So I have some kind of reference input, means I have Google Map, and after that I am assuming that I am not blind, so I can see everything very much clearly. So I can see the road, and after that, if there is no mismatch, then error, whatever error, that I will assume 0, and what I will do, I will tell my leg to continue with that path. So I am not going to change that path. So actuator is our leg. And what is control algorithm? Control algorithm is running inside our brain. So my brain is telling that that path is correct or not. Now suppose that sometime if I found some kind of mismatch, then what happens? My brain start telling us, giving instruction that whatever way you are selecting, that is wrong. So you have to change. So how basically we are changing? So our brain is going to give information to our leg, and after that we will change the another path. So what this analogy suggests, that plant. So I am the plant. My eye acts like sensor. My actuator, my leg is actuator, and control algorithm is nothing which is going to happens inside our brain. So now you can put plant as this underwater vehicle. So somehow I have to make some kind of sensor, or I have to add some kind of sensor, because every time, because this particular machine has no eye, and due to that reason I have to add some kind of eye here. And how to make something intelligent, first you have to add some kind of sensor. So sensor is somehow sensing some kind of information. So either they can sense the path, sense the velocity, sense the acceleration. So we have different sensors, some kind of mechanical sensor, some kind of electrical sensor, some kind of electronic sensor. So I'm not going to detailed discussion of sensor. After that I have control algorithm. So this is somehow brain. So you have to understand how to make this part control algorithm, and after making control algorithm you have to apply. So how to apply? Suppose that now in place of yourself you can put one kind of robot. So how robot will move? They need some kind of motor action such that they will move from one point to another point. So it means that actuator here in case of robotic system is nothing but some kind of DC motor, AC motor, or anything. Okay, so I hope that now you are able to understand the meaning of this whole block diagram. And particularly control system means what kind of sensor I am going to select, what kind of actuator I am going to select, what kind of control algorithm I am going to propose. So whole combination of this is called control system. So control system means interconnection of the sensors, control algorithm, and actuator. And basically control algorithm is most of time nowadays running inside microprocessor or some kind of computer. So if you understood this, then now main question is that I can put in place of actuator, I can put the motor. In place of sensor, I can put some kind of element which can sense the angular velocity or some kind of angular position. But I have to design this, and designing this is the responsibility of the control engineer, and this is the one of the most important part. And how many different way you can design? You have infinite many way. So today I am going to talk about some limited way which is approachable by the Newton's law. So let us come to the next slide. Before hello. Hello. Okay. Now my voice is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I think that I am audible.
Sir, you are audible.
But actually our host is telling I am audible. So it might possible. Please please check your connection.
Sir,
You are
properly
audible, sir.
audible.
Audible, sir. Audible.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Audible, sir.
Okay.
Audible, sir. Audible.
Okay. Okay. So please come to the next part of this lecture. So here, what happens? You can see here that I have talked about two problems. I have to stop some vehicle or I have to move with certain speed. It is possible to see that both problem is not different problem. That is equivalent problem, provided we can assume something. And this slide is going to convey same kind of things. So suppose if you have to track this velocity Vd. So this is my reference velocity. And whatever velocity now I have, that is called v. So I am moving underwater vehicle, some velocity is created, but some Vd, I have to track Vd. Suppose this Vd is some kind of sinusoidal, means I have used that underwater vehicle for so purpose. So I have to move that underwater vehicle for some sinusoidal path, suppose. But you can create any circular path, whatever path you want, you can create. But some limitation is there. What kind of limitation? You can see that whatever path or reference things you are going to select, that should be differentiable. Otherwise, I cannot apply the Newton's law, because here v is changing with respect to time, and due to that reason error is also changing with respect to time. And whenever some change comes into picture, I can apply the Newton's law. So even if temperature will change, I can apply Newton's law. Even if current will change, I can apply same law like Newton's. So that is the beauty. So what I feel that means even if some law from thermodynamics and electricity, all are somehow motivated from the Newton's law, Newtonian physics, and you are able to see using this lecture. So what happens? I am assuming that v is changing with respect to time. So even if Vd is not changing with respect to time, error is changing with respect to time. And whenever change comes into picture, I can talk about the rate of here E dot means dE by dt, means rate of change of error with respect to time. And after that, I can call v dot, because I know the mathematical equation. In previous slide, you can see here v dot equal to u bar minus v mod v plus t. So why we are doing mathematical modeling? Now you are able to understand. Using mathematical model, I can talk about the control action. So basically, whenever v dot comes into picture, then automatically I can substitute the right hand side, and after that I have vd dot. Now you can see that what is our aim? Our aim here to make error equal to 0. So if error equal to 0, then v equal to vd, and that is our aim. That I have to, whatever velocity that is coming from the underwater vehicle, what happens? That should be exactly equal to our reference velocity. That is our aim. So now our objective is change. I have to just make error between reference signal and output equal to 0. That is our aim. And due to that reason, I have to select this thrust to that underwater vehicle, or I have to select the input current to the motor in case of the robot. So here in this particular specific problem of underwater vehicle, I have to design this thrust. You try to now see here that this u bar I have defined ue, that is the function of error, and after that I am going to substitute this term exactly v mod v and v dot d dot. So what I am assuming that whenever you are designing some kind of computer program, so each term of computer program should be known to you. And I am assuming that whatever reference velocity, I know I have to move on this circular path or sinusoidal path, and that their derivative is known to me. One more important thing, v mod v, we are already well aware that if I move inside water, then some kind of opposing force comes into picture, and that is proportional to a square of velocity. So I am going to compensate that in advance. So I have two different kind of control strategy. That is called feed forward control or feedback control. So try to understand this by some kind of intuition. Suppose you are some student and you are going to give some kind of examination.
I think some connectivity issue is there, so please wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Sir will be back very soon.
Ma'am, is there issue?
Yes,
Ma'am,
yes.
ma'am,
Yes.
can somebody give an idea about how MATLAB works, ma'am? I mean, there is.
Okay, we'll talk to the organizers for that, and we will talk to the speakers for that. Shyam Kamal sir, are you able to hear me? Please unmute yourself, sir.
To hear me?
Yes, yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes.
and
Yes, sir.
my content is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Then so now content is not visible to me. Okay, I will share it again. Okay.
Sir, am I audible to you, sir?
Yeah. You are audible, but my content is not visible. So now what I am going to do, first I am going to do a stop sharing, and after that I will share it again. So sorry, internet connection is creating some kind of problem to me. One minute, please.
No problem, sir.
1 minute. I'm again connecting. Sorry, means I'm very much sorry due to internet connection.
No problem, sir. We know that the connective issue is there in India.
Okay. So I hope that now slides are visible.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. So do not worry. So what I'm telling here, that I hope that you are able to understand up to this point. What we are telling, that I have to track
Yes, sir,
VT.
there is a small doubt.
Okay.
Sorry, sir, again. There is a small doubt. These
Okay.
equations are understood. But these equations, it's okay. But sir, when it comes to practical applications of these equations, for example,
Okay.
we use the word MATLAB. So can you just tell us how we can, work on this equation in a MATLAB?
Okay, ma'am, could you please ask this question in last, then I will tell you in detail.
Sure, sir. I'll
Because
wait.
lot
I'll
of
wait.
slide I have to
I'll
complete.
wait, sir. I'll wait, sir.
How much time I have? Could you please tell me time?
Sure, sir. I'll wait. I'll wait, sir. I'll wait.
So 20 minutes. Hello.
Plus V or V. So actually what happens, I am going to tell you one. Know that your whatever class teacher that is very much sluggish. So what you are going to do, that you are going to take some kind of you are going to take some kind of basically some kind of risk, that okay, if I become fail then I will read, otherwise I will not read. But some student is very much practical. They are knowing that if they will not read, then they are not going to pass in this course. It means that they start reading from the beginning onward. So that kind of action, because they know if they will not read, so it might possible I become fail. Some student is very much relaxed. They are thinking, okay, if I become fail, then I will take the action and I will again read and pass. So basically here you can see that I have two terms. So here this term is called feed forward. So this is the corrective action. Corrective action means I know that I am going to fail, due to that reason I have added this term. After that, this term is called reactive. So if error comes into picture, then I will take the action. You know that system is already somehow damaged or some error is created, then we are going to take the action. And due to that reason, feed forward action is more appreciated. Means if you know things exactly, then try to make feed forward control. So V mod V plus V dot VD dot is responsible for the feed forward action, and this action now I have to design. If you talk about the another problem, that that problem now is so yeah, now I am not able to means okay. Now what happens? Second problem is called a stabilization problem. So a stabilization problem means this VD equal to 0. I have to stop the vehicle. So at that time you can see that what is difference, since VD I have to make 0, so automatically this term will go out, and after that I have this kind of equation. So this equation and this equation is exactly the same, and due to that reason we are telling that a stabilization problem is exactly equal to the tracking problem. Just you can replace E by V. But here in this whole analysis, what we have found, that this VD should be differentiable. If that is not differentiable, then I cannot go ahead. One more important thing I will tell you in today's lecture, I forgot to tell you, whenever we are talking about Newton's law, so that is very restrictive, because we are assuming that velocity is defined. So how to define velocity? Dx by dt. So if position is not continuous, then I cannot define the velocity. If velocity is not continuous, then I cannot define the acceleration. So whenever position, velocity, these are well defined, then only I can apply the Newton's law. Now let us come to the design problem, and this slide will tell you the story how to design the control action. And basically again the story is motivated from the Newton's law only. So what we are telling, that I have process, I have output, and I have set point, means reference point, and now I have to, this set point should track this output exactly. And sometime mismatch, whenever mismatch comes into picture, then I have to design some kind of feedback, means feed forward I have already designed, now I have to design the feed forward. So let us try to see from this particular graph, I have time axis, I have error axis. So this kind of error is going to propagate, means sometime error is positive, sometime error is negative. I am just assuming that I have only one dimensional system, means velocity is either in x-axis, y-axis, or z-axis, only one axis I am assuming. Due to that reason, I have plotted error in only this plane. If that is 3 dimension, then I cannot plot like this. I have to do another plotting. So for understanding, please try to assume that I am just only in one dimension. So try to see here this point. So this, at this time I have certain kind of error, that is ET. So that is the present information. And after that, if you are recording your error, then whatever the area inside this curve, that is called past information. So all past information from here to here. And what about future information? If you draw the tangent here, then that is the future information. So this action is again same like us, means whenever we are taking decision, so we are seeing the present situation, we are seeing the past situation, and we are seeing the future situation, and based on that we are taking the action. And similarly, due to that reason, I have three different action is required. One will take care about the present, another is past, and third one is future. And here now you need three different blocks, and due to that reason, three blocks come into picture here. So try to see the first block. So I know exactly the error at present moment. I scale out this error because I have to mitigate this error as soon as possible. Due to that reason, I am telling my system that, oh, this much error comes into picture, please take our action as quickly as possible. Due to that reason, I scale out it with more prominent way, and after that giving to the process. Second thing is about the past. Now question is that how to capture the past information. And you know that due to that reason, Newton has developed integral action. And what is meaning of integration? That area under this curve. And how to calculate area under this curve? You can make a small rectangle everywhere and just add it. That is the physical interpretation of this integral. And due to that reason, means past means all information from 0 to t, and due to that reason they have integrated from 0 to t, and based on this integral, what happens now? This second action comes into picture. So this will represent the past action. So how to responsible for the past action? You have to design or you have to create some kind of integral action. Now third, you can see that whenever we are making decision, we are also involving the future. And how to capture the future information? In order to capture the future information, again I have to do some mathematics. And for that, Newton has suggested one more operator, that is derivative operator. And again, a scaling factor is just telling that, means they are warning the system that error is going to occur. So please take care of error as soon as possible. So now I have in this way, due to that, if my controller is based on present information, then I have proportional action. If that is based on the past, then I have integral action. And if that is based on the future, then derivative action. And due to that reason, this control is called PID control, proportional, integral, and derivative control. If you go to industry, 95% of industry is actually using this kind of control. They are assuming that present information, past information, future information, everything is available, and based on that, they are designing the control system. But here, difficulty. What kind of difficulty we have? We are assuming that all information is available to me, and that is very, very difficult. Nowadays, you might have seen that every system is controlled by some kind of network. And in network control system, if I use the past information, lot of hackers exist outside the world, inside this world, and they can hack our information and change this information. So even if I have no error, my system understand that there is some error and they will take some kind of wrong action. Due to that reason, it is very difficult to rely on the past information. Future information system, suppose some system is moving inside water or in air, then I cannot predict the future. So future information is also dangerous. So only one reliable information is present information. No hacker can hack this information because present information is very fastly generated. So hacker speed should be exactly same as our speed, and that is not possible. Most of time that is not possible. So I can only rely on the present information. And due to that reason, whenever we are designing sophisticated control system for some kind of a space mission, some kind of defense purpose, then we are just relying on the present information, because past information and future both are very, very dangerous. So now I have another difficulty here, that is terms of information. Now how to decide this scaling factor Kp, Ka, and Kd? Because whenever we are applying control, some actuator is required, and we know that actuator is electrical actuator. Sometimes electrical motor, and they can only able to interpret signal between minus 20 volt to 20 volt, or some limitation is there. So I cannot apply any kind of signal. So design of KP, Ki and KD is another difficulty. So due to that reason, PID tuning is very, very difficult. And in this lecture, we are going to understand that how to tune PID controller based on Newton's law. So let us try to analyze case to case. And I have told you that present information is more reliable. Due to that reason, I am going to start seeing that if I have just present information, then how to design the control action. So I am assuming initially that, okay, there is no disturbance. So my process, whatever process that is very exactly I have captured, this is just for simplicity. And after that, I can involve this. So in this slide, you can see that I have selected U, that is minus Kp into V. So I know I am just talking about a stabilization problem, means I have to stop the underwater vehicle. So in order to do a stopping, what I am going to do, I created the error. So error is V minus Vd. Vd is 0 because I have to stop it. And after that, I have a scaled out. And here I put negative sign. I will tell you the story about this negative sign in the subsequent slide. So what happens if you substitute this control action here, then whatever closed loop system. So now this system is autonomous because no involvement, other involvement is required. Whenever underwater vehicle move inside the water, they can take their decision. Due to that reason, I have autonomous robotics terms comes into picture. Semi-autonomous means I will also involve somewhere, means using some kind of internet loop or somewhere. So this is autonomous system after applying this control. So we are telling that now our autonomous vehicle is intelligent enough to take the decision. Now, in order to design this KP, try to understand this slide. This slide is very, very important. If you understood this slide, then you are able to understand next slide very easily. So in starting of this lecture, what I have told you that whatever system I am going to assume that gives some kind of real number and get output should be unique real number. So real number, how to represent real number? If that is one dimension, and from school onward, we are knowing that real number that contain integer, non-integer, fraction, or so I have represented that real number with this line. After that, I have just two set of value, three set of value, either velocity equal to 0, velocity is positive, and velocity is negative. Suppose velocity equal to 0. So if velocity equal to 0 initially I have, then try to substitute within this differential equation. So rate of change of velocity also equal to 0. So again try to interpret like this. Now I am going to tell you another story. Since you have to control the velocity, so now your coordinate frame is shifted to the velocity. So now you have to interpret velocity as a position. So either you can interpret or not interpret, that is also okay. Then I will tell you another way that you can talk about velocity and rate of change of velocity. So either you can define V as a position or rate of change of position or velocity of rate of change of velocity. So that doesn't create any difficulty. So what I have seen that my velocity is either positive or negative. And if my velocity equal to 0, initial velocity equal to 0, and if I put inside this closed loop system, so V0 I have to put here, and Kp, I am assuming there is some positive quantity. So multiplication of this quantity equal to 0. It means that rate of change equal to 0. And whenever rate of change equal to 0, so from Newton's first law, I know that I cannot move. So if you start from here, and if there is no disturbance, then you can going to stay there. So what we are telling that if you have a still water, you can put underwater vehicle, so they are not going to move, because if that have 0 velocity, then there is no thrust comes into picture, and therefore that is not going to move. But here my situation is different. I have to stop my underwater vehicle, so I am assuming that I have certain kind of velocity. So if I have velocity, so that might be positive velocity, that might be negative velocity. So if first I am going to consider positive velocity. So positive velocity means that lie on this right hand side of this real line. And if V is positive, then again you can substitute this value here in right hand side of this differential equation, V dot equal to minus Kp into V. So V is positive, Kp I have selected positive, so minus of some multiplication of two positive quantity is negative. So rate of change is negative. So what I am telling that V is positive but rate of change is negative. So whenever rate of change is negative, then I will move in the opposite direction. And due to that reason, I will move again. Whenever we are moving, then value of V is going to decay. And what happens that this movement will occur till we will not come here. But during this moment, what happens? You can see that rate of change is going to decay. Why rate of change is going to decay? Because you can take any large Kp, but if V is very, very small, then their rate of change is small. Due to that reason, if you are sufficiently close to the equilibrium point, then your velocity is very, very slow. So you are moving with very, very small velocity. Similarly, now try to think in this side, left hand side. So V is negative. So V is negative, 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 positive, and Kp multiplied with positive. So this become V dot is positive. So positive, then again we are moving in this direction. And due to that reason, how to design proportional control? You can select any value of Kp that is greater than 0 that will act for our purpose if there is no disturbance. Now, one more important thing you can observe from here, if Kp value is larger, then what happens? Your rate of change is larger, so quickly you are able to converge to the 0, means quickly you can stop the underwater vehicle. So based on that, we are basically design the Kp. So I have defined this kind of term. Actually, from this slide, this kind of terminology comes into picture. Idea of equilibrium point means those point. Here you can see that in this space, in real line, because I am assuming that this velocity just belong to one real line. Due to that reason, I have represented like one real line. I will tell you if I have two dimensions, then how to deal that. So if I start from here, I am going to stay here. That is idea of equilibrium point. After that, all trajectory converge towards equilibrium point if you start anywhere, because we have seen that rate of change always comes into picture if you are not at this equilibrium point. And due to that reason, finally what happens? All you are going to converge towards the equilibrium point. And idea of asymptotic convergence means as you move towards the equilibrium point, multiplication of Kp into V, that is very, very small. So actually what happens? If that is very, very small, then rate of change is small. So you have to wait very, very large time to converge to the equilibrium point. And due to that reason, this kind of convergence is called asymptotic convergence. But now if disturbance is active, then this kind of situation is not valid. And due to that reason, I have to come to the next situation. And here you can see that I am assuming that whatever disturbance that is going to act, that is proportional to the velocity. So d0 is not known to me, means d disturbance is exactly not known to me, but I am assuming that disturbance is not unbounded. Disturbance is always bounded, means whatever I do not know the exact value of the underwater vehicle, means that flow of Ganga, but I can know the approximate velocity for this region that is flowing with this speed, means 20 to 25 or something like that. So that is nothing but d0. And if that will satisfy this kind of condition, then just what I have to do, I have to make sure that Kp, value of gain Kp, controller gain Kp, that should be greater than the maximum velocity. So maximum velocity, suppose we predict 20. So I have to make gain of controller that is greater than 20. Then what happens? Whatever unexpected velocity, that is never going to dominate over the system. And same kind of things, if Kp is greater than d0, so again this term is positive, and if this term is positive, then again similar way you can able to do analysis. And so we are telling that again I will get similar kind of situation. In this situation, now I cannot take Kp just greater than 0. I have to take Kp that should be greater than the maximum value of disturbance. So using experiment, I will predict that okay, in worst situation, the velocity of something will lie inside this to this. So I have to take that as in account, and I have to make gain that is sufficiently strong enough such that that will compensate it. Now third situation, that is very, very important situation. What I have assumed initially, that whatever disturbance that is going to vanish at equilibrium point. But it is not a true assumption. Sometimes what happens, I have some kind of time varying disturbance, and that is still persist even if we are in rest. Suppose if I have underwater vehicle, so even if vehicle on a stationary condition, river is flowing, it means that whenever river is flowing, it means that I cannot assume that whatever disturbance that is proportional to the velocity. that may be any constant quantity and constant unknown quantity. So I am assuming that D is constant and unknown. And if D is constant and unknown, then try to see the situation from the Newton's law. Now I have closed loop system like this, and from this graph you already know that if right hand side is negative and if we are on right half plane of this, then I will converge towards this. But actually here disturbance may be positive and negative, so sometime might be supportive, sometime might not be supportive, and due to that reason what happens, I cannot give guarantee that I will converge here. And due to that reason what we are telling that whenever Kp into V will dominate over D, then we have converging behavior. But after some time my behavior is going to cease. Why it's going to cease? Because after some time, because V is decreasing, so even if Kp is larger, then value of Kp into V, that is smaller, and that if right hand side is positive, then we will diverge like this. So actually I can only give guarantee that in presence of disturbance I am not exactly able to stop, but I will stop, means I will oscillate with water, and I can somewhere between some point D0 to Kp or D0 minus Kp. And due to that reason I cannot always rely on the proportional action, because suppose you launch some satellite, geostationary satellite, and some perturbation comes into picture. So you have to make sure that in any disturbance situation that should again come to the equilibrium point, means or equilibrium orbit. So finally we have to converge to this point, and somehow if you apply just information based on the present situation, you are not able to do that. And this kind of things, whatever things we have achieved here, it means that if you start anywhere in this blue region, you are going to stay there, but outside we will converge here. So due to that reason this term comes into picture, that is uniformly ultimately bounded. So forget about this term, just you try to understand the intuition. So what we have observed that if D0 is constant or some kind of time varying, then only using present information I cannot do anything. Due to that reason I have to involve some more information, and that is the information of past. And due to that reason another control combination comes into picture, that is called proportional integral control action. And if you have proportional integral control action, then you can see that I have just modified the control action Kp into V minus Ki 0 to T V tau d tau. So this is integral, so that is responsible for the collection of all past. So I am saving all past, and using this kind of operator I am applying. So if you apply this kind of control, then your closed loop system is now looks like this. And now you can see that in this differential equation I have integral equation also. So I cannot again apply same kind of analogy, whatever analogy I have learned in the previous slide. And due to that reason I am going to define some another variable z. And if you define this z variable, then now you can see that if you add some kind of integral, then automatically one differential comes into picture. So your first order system V, I am assuming only first order. Now after z this becomes second order. So your now first order system is converted into second order system. And if first order system is converted into second order, then now I am not on real line. So real line situation is very simple, because either you can move in this direction, means diverging direction, converging direction, or stay there. But if you are in a space, two-dimensional space, because now I have two coordinates V and Z, so I am in some kind of two-dimensional plane. So if you are here, so I have infinite many direction, so I cannot apply same kind of analogy. I cannot apply the Newton's law same like in the first order case. So I have to think little more. One more important point, if D is constant but unknown, so D dot is 0, then my system become free from the disturbance. But if D is time varying, then D dot also comes into picture. So what we have observed that if I have constant disturbance is going to act on the system, and if I apply information of proportional and integral control, then my closed loop system is free from disturbance. So PI control is able to reject the constant disturbance if that is going to act, but they cannot reject the time varying disturbance. So first try to understand that if constant disturbance, constant magnitude is going to hit to our system, then how basically I can design Kp and Ki, because I have to design 2 gains. So I have to actually see more different strategy. So this is the MATLAB simulation. I will tell you in last that how basically one can generate the MATLAB program. So D equal to 3, if I take constant disturbance, you can see that after application of PI controller, again this V equal to 0. And but if that is time varying disturbance 2 sin t, then it is oscillating with disturbance. So I cannot maintain V equal to 0. So what I am telling that, okay, underwater vehicle is somehow oscillating. Now try to see the geometrical interpretation if I have 2-dimensional system. So meaning of 2-dimensional system, that I have 2 different coordinate now. So initially I have just this real line. Now I am going to add one real line in vertical direction also. So in this way I can create the 2-dimensional plane. And what happens if you are here now, I am assuming that Z is non-zero, V is non-zero, then you have infinite many directions. So now I cannot talk same like the first slide. So but I have one thing. What happens, some system is looking complicated in some coordinate frame, but if you transform that into some simple coordinate frame, then things become easy. I will give you some very simple example. Most of you traveling using train, and suppose that if train is moving on some circular path and you can throw some ball, then what happens, if you are sitting inside the train, then you looks like that ball is moving in a straight line. But if you are sitting outside, then what happens, you may have observed that ball is moving on some circular path. So you can see that if observer ball is remains same, but if location of observer will change, then what happens, something which is looking complicated now becomes simple. So same kind of things mathematicians are suggesting, that if you have some complicated situation, please do not worry, try to apply some kind of transformation. And this is here actually idea of matrix comes into picture. And I hope that if you are teacher from 10+2 school, at that time you are teaching matrix. So what matrix is doing, matrix somehow simplify complicated coordinate frame to simple coordinate frame. So that is the role of mathematics, matrix in the analysis of system or design of system. So somehow matrix is very good tool to what happens, to design some system. Now if I am assuming that whatever transformation I am going to use here, so all entry of this transformation is some kind of constant matrix. It is possible to show that if Kp and Ki I can tune, then this system is decoupled like these two systems. So, and if these systems are decoupled, then again I can apply Newton's law in this direction and this direction. Again, same like first slide, and I can design Kp and Ki. So actually in next slide, some idea of the matrix is involved. So if you are not aware about matrix, then please just forgive me, because I forget, because I am assuming that you know what is eigenvalue. So eigenvalue means, just please check what is eigenvalue. I hope that you all are well aware about eigenvalue. It is possible to show that by fixing Kp and Ki and determinant, if lambda I minus a, if you calculate, then that give you polynomial, and that is root of polynomial, that is lambda 1 and lambda 2. And by choosing Kp and Ki, I can tune this lambda 1 and lambda 2. And if this lambda 1 and lambda 2 is negative, then it is possible to show that this system is decoupled into two. That means this coupled system is decoupled like this. Now I can again able to use the same kind of analysis. So I can tune gain of present information and past information, means PI control, using this kind of methodology. So that is pretty easy. You can select Kp and Ki, you can calculate and try to, because these two gain in our hand, so I can select Kp and Ki and try to make lambda and lambda 1 and lambda 2. If lambda 1 is higher, then rate of convergence is higher, so try to select lambda 1 that is more negative. So that is the idea. So please forget about this slide, and there is no need to explain this slide. Now let us come to this slide. Now in this slide, what we are telling that, okay, in this slide what I am telling, that suppose if in place of, if I have future information also, then what kind of things comes into picture. So in future information, then my control is Kp into V and Kd into V dot. And if you see that then just if you rearrange it, then this kind of action comes into. So if you apply future information, then somehow your action remains the proportional, but just you are going to scale out the disturbance, or all tuning remains like the Newton's law. So due to that reason, I am going to skip this slide. So what we have seen that if I have some system, there is no disturbance, then you can apply proportional control. If you have some kind of disturbance, which is time varying disturbance, means depending on time, varying with time, then you cannot apply proportional control. You have to shift for PI controller. But what is difficulty of PI controller? That is only able to reject some kind of constant disturbance, but not time varying disturbance. And due to that reason, again you have to shift to the another control action, and this control action is called high gain feedback. So this, what is main motive of this this slide? So they are telling that suppose if actuator is strong enough to sustain any kind of control action, then using proportional information I can reject anything. So, and we have such kind of actuator, that is pneumatic actuator or hydraulic actuator. You might have seen that no train is stopped using electrical actuator, that is stopped using some kind of pneumatic actuator. Why? They can apply very, very huge force, and how basically that force is created. So Kp into V and 1 by tau, tau tending towards 0. So this value is become very, very large, and due to that reason, what happens? I have given this name, that I have just present information, but I can apply the very large control action using some kind of pneumatic or hydraulic actuator. And in this situation, if you multiply with tau, then finally, if tau tending towards 0, then you are able to get V equal to 0. From this equation, you can see that first term is 0, tau into D is 0, and V equal to 0. So if your actuator will allow any class of control, then there is no need to shift to the integral action or derivative action. Just proportional action is enough to control the plant. Now, but what happens? Whatever robotic system we are developing, that is driven by the electrical motor, and electrical motor has always limitation. Due to that reason, again I have to relook the control action, because I cannot able to apply this kind of control action. But what is beauty of here? If I able to apply any control action, then I can reject any class of disturbance. Here you can see that is constant disturbance, vanishing disturbance, non-vanishing disturbance. Still I can reject it. So now next question is that, is it possible to design some kind of control strategy? Using that control strategy, my gain become bounded, means I can apply bounded control but reject a large class of disturbance. And due to that reason, next strategy comes into picture. Here in this simulation, MATLAB simulation, I just want to show you that if I am decreasing tau, then how basically finally we are able to arrive at the equilibrium point. My disturbance is sinusoidal. So another control strategy, that is called on-off control, and you might have seen that, means whenever you are purchasing some for your child, you might have purchased some kind of robot, and most of time that is on-off robot. So how basically on-off principle will work, and so using Newton's law I am going to explain today. So what I am telling that now you can apply some kind of on-off control, U equal to minus K signum P. And what is beauty of on-off control? That not require the past information or future information. So that always work on the present information. So that is also quicker, very fast. And here, how I have defined that signum V. So V greater than 0 is positive, V less than 0 is minus 1. Here you first you can assume that V equal to 0, that is 0. Because during 10+2 school course, you might have seen that whenever we are defining signum function, we are assuming that V equal to 0 for 0. But for higher level of engineering, we are defining like that, and I will tell you the motivation. So here again, now try to see that using same, because I am assuming V belongs to R, I have to just control in one dimension. If I have two dimension, then using transformation, I can again decouple into system into one dimension. Even if I have three dimension, I can by tuning, by defining some kind of transformation, again I will come to the one dimension. So I can apply one dimension theory everywhere. So that is the main motive. Now here, try to see the situation. I have designed control action, that is minus K signum V. Now if V is positive, then what happens? Minus K signum V, this will, because signum V is just giving you the sign. So here positive, so minus k plus dt, and I am assuming k is greater than the disturbance. So somehow you have to tune your controller. So even if you are not knowing the disturbance, but you are knowing, okay, this much of disturbance will going to enter inside system. So how basically physically we are designing this controller. Now we are making some kind of physical setup, and we are applying k, and we are saying, okay, this k, this will work or not. Then we are increasing the k. So in this way we are selecting k in the practical situation. And if v is greater than 0, it is possible to show here minus k plus dt, and k is positive I have selected. So finally v dot is negative. So if v dot is negative, so same like first means whatever slide I have explained there, then again we are moving like this. Similarly, if v is negative, then v dot is positive, so we are moving like this. But here one more beauty comes into picture. You can see that if I am using k into v proportional control, at that time control action is going to decrease as we are moving close to the equilibrium point. But here signum v is just giving the sign. So whatever control action k you will select, that is remains uniform everywhere, just at the origin that going to become 0. So everywhere I have control except 0. Now try to understand that what is further interpretation. Now you have certain velocity v, and now I have to make velocity equal to 0. And here dv by dt is nothing but acceleration. So if you have constant acceleration and you have to make velocity 0, then in finite time it is always possible to make it. You already aware about this, or you can interpret like this. Now you can interpret v as a position and v dot here as a velocity. Means first law, in order to apply first law, basic law. So you can interpret, you can change the coordinate frame. And here what happens, suppose you have to move from point A to B, and A to B, if that is finite distance, and if you move with finite velocity, then always you will converge in finite time. So here within finite time I am able to move from one point to another point. So that is the beauty of the on-off control. So similar kind of things I have shown using MATLAB simulation. Here I have already told you that either you can interpret v as a velocity or v as a position, that doesn't matter in mathematical analysis. So due to that reason, I am assuming initially I have one velocity equal to 1. Now some sinusoidal disturbance is active, acting on the system. So in finite time, it is possible to show I can able to make that velocity equal to 0. So this is a stabilization problem. Once you converge here, since at v equal to 0, what I have assumed that is equal to 0. So you are start oscillating. You are either oscillating in this direction, this direction. So this kind of oscillation comes into picture. And it is possible to show that if you pass right hand side with some kind of low pass filter, then you are able to reconstruct the disturbance also. So what kind of disturbance is basically acting on the system, that you can able to calculate. Now I will tell you that a story why I have defined like this. So what we have observed here, that
sir, sorry to interrupt you.
okay.
We are running short of time, so
okay. So now I am going. Okay, now then I will just give me 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes I will complete.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. So this is the story of finite time controller. Now let us try to see that. Means up to now what we have seen, that we have two different classes of robot. One robot that is for aerospace purpose. Another robot is for underwater purpose. Third kind of robot that is moving on the ground, and most of time that is controlled by DC motor. And here we have to design DC motor, control for DC motor, such that, because I have told you that DC motor is just acts like some kind of actuator. So if I will tell something to DC motor that you can apply more torque, then they will apply more torque. If I will tell them apply less torque, then they will apply less torque. So I am going to skip this slide. I am assuming that DC motor, you all are knowing about the DC motor. So basically I have DC motor, and this inertial load means I am assuming some robotic system here, or you can take this hand, so as a robot manipulator, and suppose I have to rotate this hand. So I have actually basically put DC motor here, and such that so basically that is going to rotate it. So basically that is approximate block diagram, and I am going to skip this slide. Now I am going to the final conclusion. So what we have seen, that I have reviewed the well-known PID controller. Most of time I'm just going to talk about the Newton's law, and based on Newton's law, I'm able to explain almost everything. So what is future prospect of this research? Now what I found that NASA is trying to use control system for the student of 6th class onward, and that kind of concept is not available inside India. And I know that from 6th class onward, it is possible to teach a student to the Newton's law. So I try to further simplify this strategy such that I will write one book for the school children based on Newton's law, such that they are able to build robot, they are able to simulate robot, and these kind of things. That is my future aim of this research. So thank you very much for the invitation. Now this session is open for the questions. Now MATLAB program. So I in between one madam is asking about the MATLAB program. So, madam, first you can install the MATLAB software.
Yes, sir.
And after that, we have one tutorial that is called CTMS tutorial. Could you please write CTMS tutorial?
Yeah, sir. I went to a Simulink also. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, a Simulink with the MATLAB, sir. But actually,
Hello.
yeah, sir. But actually, it is very difficult for a school teacher like me to work on that, because there are so many things. I mean, like today, whatever you taught was to some extent I could understand because I have some phys background. So, but sir, certain things just bounced my head. I need to really work on hard on that, because the concepts were too high for me. But it was good. I mean, I understood something. I won't deny that. But sir, Simulink, I have some problem with that. So if any time, if you, I mean, can tell us how to work on that.
Okay, ma'am. Actually, that 11 PhD student is working under me, and almost 10 are very much trained about that. So what I will do, because I was very busy, so I will tell them make means very simple program and take 2 hour of session. So if you have 2 and 3 teachers, even if you are single, that doesn't matter. So they will teach you. That is okay, ma'am?
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So and students are very active. Even if you will tell me that any area, means all 10 PhD student has taken almost 20 courses related to MATLAB, and I have trained, I have taken. So most of time, whenever these kind of things, programming kind of things comes into picture, you might have means heard that BHU is very good in programming, means very strong. Programming means lot of hackers or these kind of things are basically coming from here. So they are very good in programming. So they will teach you very easily. Or what now I am thinking that it might possible in summer. I will invite some school teacher free of cost. I will request government to give some fund, and after that I will tell them that okay, means I will give the all lecture, and after that several robotic setup I have developed here. So I will show you the robotic setup also, because I have developed wall climbing robot, I have developed stair climbing robot, means for elders, and after that underwater vehicle. So I will show you everything. Means at least 1 month is required for that. So you can plan for 15 or 20 days. So I will write one proposal to the government, because government will become agree, because whenever we will involve the school teacher, so then they become agree to give any kind of fund. So now I will do that, and then I will, and so in between just please drop one email. I will send you the email address of my student, that is Bhavna Singh, and I will tell.
So could you please share the email ID?
Another question? So you can ask any question, means it might possible that means even if that is a small question, that doesn't matter for me, because what I found that most of time people are not able to understand a small thing. So due to that reason, you can ask any small questions, any small queries related to this lecture.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, could you please share us the email ID of your student, sir, please?
Okay, means I think that Gajendra sir, could you please okay, I will, or in chat box also I am able to write, na? So chat box. Okay, could you please write, okay, chat box, where is chat box? Because I am not using this interface. Yes.
Okay, sir.
So my email ID is just my name, syamkamal.EE syambkamal@iitbhu.ac.in, or you can just type Syam Kamal IIT BHU. Then there are several places you are able to see my contact information, my all research articles, or these kind of things are available. So in Google, just please type Syam Kamal IIT BHU.
Sir, please repeat it again.
Syam Kamal, SYAMKAMAL dot EEE @iitbhu.ac.in. Yeah, that is correct. That is correct.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful session. Now, I would like to call Mr. Yogesh, sir, for the vote of thanks.
Sorry, I am not able to complete few slides because I am teaching very slow, so that is my problem. Next time I will hope that I will actually finish all slides.
No problem. You're explaining very wonderfully. You explained all the things to the participant, and I hope everyone is getting all the things from you. Thank you. Mr. Yogesh, are you able to hear me?
Hello.
Mr. Yogesh?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, okay.
Today's session was presented by the Dr. Syam, Assistant Professor, Electrical Engineering Department, IIT BHU. His topic was controlling a robot, a Newton's law-based approach. A robot is a machine, especially one programmed by a computer of carrying out complex series of action automatically. He tells us about the importance of the uniqueness. Tells us the Newton's first law. Every object persists in its state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless it is compelled to change that state by forces impressed on it. In the next step, he explained the Newton's second law. Force is equals to change of momentum with change of time. Or you can say that the F equals to m1 v1 minus m0 v0 divided by t1 minus t0. Or directly you can write it F equals to ma. A nothing but A is the acceleration, or you can say the rate of change of velocity. Now he explained the mathematical modeling. The mathematical modeling is the process of construction of mathematical description for the system is called modeling. He tells us about the PID controllers. So PID controllers, the use of 95% use of PID controllers are or industries nowadays. Now he explained the limitations of the PID controller. Too much information. Tuning of PID gains are not easy for certain plants. Controller based on information of present state and ideas of equilibrium, non-vanishing disturbances. Now, thank you, Dr. Syam Kamal, and all the participants for such informative sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yogesh sir, and thank you so much, Dr. Kamal sir, for such a wonderful session. Thank you. So now, without taking a break, as we are getting very knowledgeable session from the sir, we are continuing with the session of the second